Hello, I'm Catherine Nicholson, very pleased today to be interviewing the President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker. Hello.
Hello, I'm Jean-Claude Juncker. I'm very pleased to be interviewed.
Thanks for being with us. Well, you're in Paris for the commemorations of 100 years since the end of the First World War, a day that's all about peace. We know that Europe sees itself very much as a continent of peace. However, the world is very turbulent. Do you believe that Europe can remain at peace?
I think so, because this is, how could I say, the fundamental, basic idea of the European unification. We have 60 wars worldwide, none of them in Europe. I mean, on the territory of the European Union. In our periphery, there is a war, Ukraine and others. But peace remains the main objective, aim of the European Union.
There has been much focus during the last few days on Donald Trump, the US president, who rather clashed with the French president on his arrival over the concept of a European army. What do you make of this? Was it a misunderstanding by the American president, or perhaps looking for confrontation?
But I'm not involved in their friendly, controversial dispute.
But a European army would involve the European Union and the Commission.
But if a European army there would be, and one day there will be a European army, this army has to align with NATO forces. This would not be, even not in the understanding of President Macron, an army against or beneath the US. The US for decades now are asking an improved military effort from Europe. We have launched as a Commission, and the High Representative the same, the European Union of Defence. We are spending during the next financial period, 21-27, 20 times more credits, financial volumes to defence. So this is not an idea which is shocking me, but this is not a short or medium-term initiative.
Well, the other thorny foreign relations issue for Europe at the moment is Russia. The EU still maintaining its sanctions over the conflict in Ukraine. We had the mass withdrawal of European ambassadors over the Skripal poisoning. Vladimir Putin has recently warned NATO over the idea of sighting missiles in Europe, and there's been an increase in military exercises. The tone has risen. How concerned should Europeans be? I
think that we should, from time to time, more often than now, have a meeting of the Russia-NATO Council, because if you have problems, you have to discuss. We are not in a discussion mood with Russia. This has to change, but we cannot step away from the sanctions, because the sanctions have a reason, and the reason was Crimea, was East Ukraine. So as long as the Russians are not behaving in line with the international law, the sanctions will stay. In terms of Vladimir Putin's presence here in Paris at the armistice commemorations, that is somewhat controversial for some. Do you think the Russian president should be here? Yes. There's no controversy for you? I think his place is here, and this gives us the opportunity to discuss with him, as we are doing from time to time. Many of the European colleagues are traveling to Moscow, so why should they not come to Paris when they are going to Moscow? Just wanted to look at an internal European issue, the most dominant at the moment, the Brexit. The UK looks somewhat like a fledgling bird on a ledge, not sure whether to jump at the moment. How worried are you about an unorderly Brexit and the damage that could cause to the European Union? We'll have a deal with our British friends. This deal will be concluded in the next coming weeks. I'm quite sure that this will be done, because it has to be done, because this orderly withdrawal would be a catastrophe. Anyway, the fact that Britain is leaving the European Union is a tragedy. We don't have to add new tragic moments to the already existing tragedy. Just looking to the future, the European elections are just 6 months away. We've had voices, including the openly anti-European Steve Bannon, prominent Euroskeptics here in the EU, saying they're working to bring a wave of populists, far-right politicians, nationalists into the European Parliament. How likely are they to succeed? I do think that the danger is a real one, that the extreme right will be stronger than it is today. Bannon or not Bannon. Bannon is not a European politician. He's someone coming from somewhere. So my concern is not Bannon. My concern is that the extreme right, the populist parties, could strengthen their presence in the European Parliament, which would be a bad thing. Democratic forces have to stand up against the danger coming from the extreme right.
Jean-Claude Juncker, thank you very much.
Thank you.